She never forgot the sound of that question, quiet, trembling, and asked just past midnight, because it felt like the kind of moment that changes everything. It happened on a night when the house was wrapped in that soft stillness she loved, the kind where every breath felt louder, every thought a little braver. She had been sitting by the living room window, a mug of warm tea in her hands, thinking about how life had moved faster than she ever planned. And she had been wondering, in that gentle, private way, if she had been doing enough for her son, for herself, for the dreams she once tucked away. Her name was Arya, and though she had always believed she was strong, motherhood had taught her the kind of strength she never expected to need. That night had started with something simple, a message on her phone from an old friend, Caspian, the kind of person whose presence had always stirred something soft inside her, long before she ever had the courage to name it. They rarely talked these days, but the sight of his name still made her heart flutter in that innocent, unmistakable way. She didn't reply immediately. She wasn't sure what she felt was allowed anymore. When she finally set the phone aside, she heard footsteps in the hallway, slow, hesitant. Her son, Rowan, was usually asleep long before then. He was gentle by nature, thoughtful, quieter than most children his age. She always sensed he felt the world deeper than he let on. He paused at the doorway. "Mom?" he whispered. She turned toward him, surprised to see him awake. His face held something she hadn't seen before, an uneasy mixture of fear and longing. "Sweetheart," she said softly, "why aren't you asleep?" He walked over slowly, his small hands fidgeting with the edge of his sleeve. When he sat beside her, she felt the weight of unspoken words in the air. Mothers always feel it first, the shift in energy, the tremble before truth. "I had a dream," he murmured, "and I think I woke up scared." Her heart tightened. She wrapped an arm around him, letting him lean into her side, the way he used to when he was tiny. "Do you want to talk about it?" she asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he pressed his cheek against her shoulder, as if borrowing courage from her warmth. The silence felt fragile, stretched thin with hidden meaning. When he finally spoke, his words came out so quietly she almost missed them. "Mom, are you lonely?" She froze. Of all the questions she had expected, monsters, shadows, worries about school, this was the one she was least prepared for. Her breath caught, and she felt her heart tremble in a way she couldn't hide. "Why do you ask that?" she whispered. Rowan looked up at her with eyes too wise for his young age. "Because sometimes you smile like you're pretending." The truth of that hit her deeper than she expected. She blinked, feeling tears gather, soft, reluctant, and real. She never wanted him to feel her grief or her uncertain hope, especially the parts of her heart she had quietly kept hidden. Like the way she still thought about Caspian. She reached up and smoothed her son's hair, trying to steady her voice. "Oh, sweetheart, moms can feel lots of things at the same time, but I'm okay, really." But Rowan shook his head. "Tonight your phone lit up," he whispered, "and I saw your face. You looked different, like someone made you happy." Arya's breath quickened. He had noticed. Maybe he had always noticed. "Rowan," she murmured gently, "sometimes grown-ups carry feelings quietly because they don't want them to spill onto the people they love." He stared at her for a long moment, then asked the question that struck the deepest chord of all. "Mom, is there someone you wish you could talk to? Someone who makes your heart feel lighter?" Her pulse fluttered. She opened her mouth to answer, carefully, softly, when her phone buzzed again on the table beside them. Just one gentle vibration, but loud enough to shift the air around them. Caspian's name lit up the screen. Rowan saw it. Arya felt her breath catch. And everything inside her paused, caught between past tenderness, present responsibilities, and the possibility of something she never dared to say aloud. If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. Arya reached toward the phone with a shaking hand, but stopped just before touching it, her heart suspended between choice and fear. Arya did not touch the phone, not right away. Something in her chest held her still, as if the moment itself was asking her to breathe, to listen, to understand what truly lived inside her heart. Rowan watched her quietly, his small hands curled in his lap. He wasn't judging her. He wasn't pushing her. He was simply seeing her, more clearly than she had allowed anyone to see her in years. "Is he someone important to you?" Rowan asked softly. The question was so innocent, yet so deeply perceptive, that it took Arya a moment to find her voice. She gently wrapped her arm around him again, pulling him a little closer. "Sweetheart, he was a close friend," she said. "Someone who knew me when I was younger, when life felt different." She spoke slowly, tasting each word, as if the truth needed room to breathe. Rowan tilted his head. "Different how?" Arya let out a small, thoughtful sigh. The room felt warm, lit only by the soft glow of the lamp beside them. Shadows moved gently on the walls, shaped by the rhythm of the night wind outside. "When you're young," she whispered, "everything feels full of possibility. You think about hopes and dreams more boldly. You believe in things without hesitating." "And now?" Rowan asked. She smiled faintly, brushing a hand through his hair. "And now, I think about making sure you're loved, safe, and happy. That's my whole world." He leaned into her, comforted, but his eyes carried another unspoken thought. He had always been attuned to the emotional currents around him, as if he felt the world in deeper shades than others. "Mom," he murmured after a moment of silence, "I don't want you to be lonely just because you take care of me." Her heart clenched at the tenderness in his voice. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, "you don't ever make me lonely. You bring me more joy than you know." He nodded, but the worry didn't fully leave his face. A quiet beat passed before he spoke again. "But you used to smile differently. I saw it once, when you were talking to that friend." Arya felt something warm rush through her, a blend of embarrassment, memory, and a soft ache she'd long tucked away. She remembered that moment he was talking about. Caspian had visited their town one summer, years ago. He brought laughter into the small cafe where she worked, and she laughed in a way she hadn't since her early 20s. It was the kind of laughter that felt like stepping back into sunlight after a long winter. Rowan had noticed it back then, too. "Sometimes," Rowan whispered, "I think you miss someone, but you're scared to say it." Arya swallowed, her breath trembling. "Rowan, sweetheart, some feelings are complicated, and sometimes grown-ups don't know what to do with them." He didn't argue. He simply rested his head on her shoulder again, hugging her arm with quiet, childlike trust. Her phone buzzed once more. It wasn't loud, just a soft reminder, a gentle nudge from a past she had never fully let go of. Arya reached for it eventually, though her hand still shook a little. When she unlocked the screen, she saw the message. "Are you awake? I was thinking about you tonight." Her heart thudded in her chest. She hadn't heard words like that in a long time, words that weren't romantic, yet carried warmth, care, familiarity. Rowan looked up at her slowly. Did he say something important? Arya hesitated, then showed him the message. She didn't want secrets between them, not in a moment like this. Rowan read it silently, then glanced up. "Mom, do you want to talk to him?" The question felt like a soft breeze against a long, closed window. Arya pressed a hand against her chest, steadying herself. The truth she had avoided for years rose quietly inside her. "I don't know," she whispered. But Rowan didn't look convinced. "Maybe you do know," he said softly. "Maybe you're just afraid of it." Her breath caught. His honesty, so pure, so unguarded, made her eyes sting with unspilled tears. She looked at the phone again. Caspian's name glowed gently on the screen. Before she could decide anything, Rowan nudged her hand with his small fingers. "Mom, it's okay to be happy." Her heart quivered at those words. She wasn't ready to reply to Caspian. Not yet. But she also couldn't pretend the warmth in her chest wasn't real. She closed the message gently, placed the phone on her lap, and wrapped her arms around Rowan in a soft, protective embrace. And in that stillness, she felt it, the quiet beginning of something she had long been scared to admit. Just then, the living room clock chimed softly, and Rowan lifted his head with new uncertainty in his eyes. "Mom, there's something else I need to tell you," he whispered. "Something I didn't know how to say before." Arya's breath halted. Arya felt her breath tighten as she looked at Rowan's face. His expression had shifted, still soft, still gentle, but carrying a weight he clearly wasn't used to holding. She brushed her thumb over his cheek, encouraging him with the kind of quiet strength only a mother can give. "It's all right," she whispered. "You can tell me anything." Rowan drew in a small breath, steadying himself. The room felt unusually still, as if even the night air pressed its ear against the walls to listen. "Mom," he began, "I didn't wake up because of a dream." Her heart paused. He hesitated, searching for courage in her eyes before continuing. "I woke up because I heard you sigh." She blinked, surprised. "You heard me?" He nodded slowly. "You sounded sad. Not like you were crying, just like something inside you hurt." Arya felt her chest ache at the tenderness of his words. She hadn't realized she had let anything slip. She always tried to be strong, steady, reassuring. But perhaps even silent pain has its own sound. "Oh, sweetheart," she murmured, pulling him close. "You shouldn't have to worry about that." "But I do," he whispered, "because you're my mom, and I can feel when you're hurting." She closed her eyes, letting the truth settle. It was astonishing how children sensed the things adults worked so hard to hide. He lifted his head slightly, his small voice trembling with sincerity. "Sometimes I hear you talking softly in the kitchen when you think I'm asleep, like you're trying to calm yourself down." Her throat tightened. She hadn't expected him to notice those late-night moments, when loneliness quieted the house enough for old memories to echo. Rowan continued cautiously. "I didn't know how to ask you about it before. I didn't know if it would make you sadder." A gentle sigh slipped from Arya's lips as she held him. "You're never going to make me sadder, my love," she said softly. "You asking, it only shows how kind your heart is." He leaned into her, comforted for a moment, but then his voice changed, hesitant but determined. "Mom, there's something else too." She felt her pulse rise. "What is it?" Rowan's gaze drifted toward the window, as if searching the night for the right words. "I've been thinking a lot lately," he whispered, "about the way you always take care of me, the way you put me first, the way you smile at me, even when you're tired." His voice wavered. "And I started wondering if maybe you hide your feelings because you're scared I'll be upset." Arya's breath softened, and she touched his cheek gently. "Rowan, nothing you do could ever upset me. Not your questions, not your worries." But he shook his head. "I'm not scared about myself," he murmured. "I'm scared about you." Something warm and fragile cracked softly inside her. He looked up at her, tears shining faintly in his eyes. "I want you to have someone who makes you feel safe too," he whispered. Someone who makes you smile the way you used to. Her heart trembled. Sweetheart, I have you. I know, he said gently, but you should also have someone for the moments when I can't be there, when I'm older, when I'm busy, when I'm not sitting right beside you. Arya felt her breath unsteady as realization washed over her. This conversation wasn't coming from fear or confusion. It was coming from love, a deep, quiet love that understood more than his age suggested. She brushed away a tear that had slipped down her cheek. Rowan, are you worried I'll be alone when you grow up? He lowered his eyes. Yes. The simplicity of that answer hit her harder than any long explanation ever could. Her heart softened, warmed, and ached all at once. Sweetheart, she said, her voice trembling slightly, you don't need to worry about that right now. I promise you I'll be okay. But Rowan looked up, his expression earnest. Mom, I don't think you'll just be okay. I think you deserve to be happy. Her breath stopped for a moment. Just then, her phone buzzed again on the table, a soft vibration, a quiet reminder that another possibility still existed in her life. Rowan glanced at it, then back at her. Maybe, he whispered, you don't have to face everything alone. Arya turned toward the glowing screen, her heart swirling with emotions she had long avoided, hope, fear, longing, and something deeper she had once tucked away. She reached toward the phone slowly, but before she could touch it, Rowan said one more quiet thing, and the softness of it changed the entire night. Arya paused with her hand halfway to the phone, the soft glow of its screen reflecting faintly against her fingers. Rowan's voice, quiet but steady, filled the space between them. Mom, he whispered, I wasn't only worried about you being lonely. Her hand lowered slowly, her heartbeat shifting, steadier, heavier, carrying a new kind of anticipation. What do you mean, sweetheart? She asked gently. Rowan took a moment, breathing softly, as if arranging his thoughts with great care. His small hands twisted slightly in his lap before he finally looked up. I was scared you were hiding something because of me. Arya felt a tremor move through her chest. She shifted closer, pulling him into a comforting embrace. Oh, honey, she murmured, I would never hide anything from you because I don't trust you. You're my heart. He leaned into her, but the weight in his shoulders didn't ease. That's not what I mean, he said quietly. I don't ever want to be the reason you don't choose something that could make you happy. Her breath caught. This child, with his gentle eyes and soft voice, carried a depth she had never expected to see so young. He wasn't just worried about her loneliness. He was worried about being the obstacle to her joy. She cupped his face in her hands. Rowan, she whispered, you are never the reason I hold back from anything. You're the reason I move forward. He blinked, absorbing her words, but his eyes still glimmered with unspoken worry. Then why, he began softly, why don't you talk to him? The question settled between them with delicate force. Arya looked away for a moment, staring at the lamp's soft light flickering against the walls. Her voice trembled slightly. Because I don't know what it would mean. I don't want to open a door I'm not sure I'm ready for. Rowan considered this, his expression thoughtful, almost too mature for his age. Mom, does talking to him make you feel better? Arya swallowed, thinking back to memories of Caspian, his laughter, his warmth, the way he always saw the quiet parts of her without needing explanation. She remembered the comfort in his presence, the way he never rushed her, never pushed, just listened, just cared. Yes, she admitted softly, it does. Rowan nodded, as if that confirmed something he had suspected. Then maybe that's enough to start. She exhaled slowly, touched by the simplicity and wisdom of his words. But then Rowan's expression shifted again, shy, hesitant, carrying another layer of meaning. "There's something else I need to tell you," he whispered. "It's a little embarrassing." Arya leaned closer, giving him her full attention. "You can tell me anything, sweetheart. I'm right here." He looked down at his knees, voice barely above a breath. I think I want someone to take care of you too." Her heart tightened, eyes stinging again. "Oh, Rowan." "No, I mean it," he said, still looking down. "When you smile like you're pretending, it makes me feel like I should fix it, but I don't know how. I'm just a kid." The honesty of it made her chest ache. He lifted his head, tears shimmering softly but not falling. "Maybe if you had someone who made you happy, then I wouldn't feel scared at night anymore, because I'd know you weren't hurting." Arya drew him into a full embrace, holding him tightly against her, her own tears slipping quietly down. "You never have to fix my heart," she whispered into his hair. "That's not your job. You being here, your love, is more than enough." He hugged her back tremblingly, clinging in a way that told her he had been holding those fears for far too long. Her phone buzzed again. This time, she didn't pull away from him to look. But she did hear the soft vibration, and she felt Rowan's head shift slightly, as if listening to it too. "Mom," he murmured, "I think he's waiting." Arya's breath wavered. Carefully, gently, she loosened her embrace and cupped Rowan's face again. "Are you asking me to talk to him?" she asked softly. Rowan looked into her eyes, straight, steady, earnest. "I'm asking you not to be scared of being loved." Arya's entire world stilled. His words touched a place inside her that hadn't felt sunlight in years. She turned toward the phone slowly, breath catching, heart trembling, her fingertips hovering above the screen, just a whisper away from opening a door she had kept shut for far too long. Then Rowan spoke one more quiet sentence, one that made Arya freeze completely, her heart thundering in her chest. "Mom, I think he might be the person you've been wishing for." For a long moment, Arya didn't move. Her fingertips hovered above the phone, the soft glow brushing her skin like a quiet invitation. Rowan's last sentence echoed inside her, tender and startling all at once. "The person you've been wishing for." She drew in a steady breath and looked at her son. His expression was open, hopeful, trusting in a way that wrapped around her heart. "Sweetheart," she whispered, "why do you think that?" Rowan shifted closer, leaning lightly against her arm. "Because I've watched you miss someone without saying it out loud. Your face changes when you see his name. And sometimes you look like you're standing in two places at once." He paused, searching her eyes. "And sometimes you look like you're standing in two places at once. Like part of you is here, and part of you is somewhere you left behind." Arya felt her breath tighten, touched by the innocence and clarity of his words. She brushed a strand of hair from his forehead. "I didn't know you noticed so much." "I notice everything about you," he murmured. "You're my mom." Her heart warmed, trembling. "And I don't want you to feel like you have to hide the parts of you that still hope," he added softly. "Hope is a good thing." Arya looked down at the phone again. Caspian's name glowed gently, a quiet reminder of someone who had, for so many years, existed somewhere between memory and possibility. She exhaled slowly. "I'm scared," she admitted in a whisper. Rowan took her hand, his small fingers wrapping around hers with a gentleness that steadied her. "It's okay to be scared," he said. But you always tell me that being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you try anyway." She let out a trembling smile. "I did tell you that, didn't I?" He nodded. "And I think maybe this is your time to try." Her heart softened, warmed, and steadied all at once. Carefully, she picked up the phone. The screen brightened, revealing Caspian's message still waiting there, simple, warm, and full of the kind of earnest longing she had once pushed away. "Are you awake?" "I was thinking about you tonight." Arya swallowed. She typed a few words, hesitated, erased them, then started again, this time letting her heart guide her instead of fear. "I'm awake. It's been a long day. How are you?" Her finger trembled as she pressed send. Rowan leaned gently against her side, watching her with quiet anticipation. "Mom," he whispered, "are you okay?" She nodded softly. "I think so." A moment later, the phone buzzed again. "I'm glad you're awake. I wasn't sure if I should reach out tonight. Something reminded me of you, and I just felt like I needed to hear your voice." Arya's breath caught. She hadn't expected him to be so open, so direct. The warmth of his words stirred something deep inside her, something she had long tucked away. "Mom," Rowan murmured, "he sounds like he cares." "He always did," she whispered, almost to herself. Rowan smiled gently. Then maybe he still does. Arya typed slowly, choosing her words with care. "You reaching out, it means more than you know." Another brief pause. Another message. "Would you like to talk for a few minutes? Only if you feel okay with it." Her heart fluttered. She looked at Rowan. "Sweetheart, he wants to call. How do you feel about that?" Rowan's answer came without a moment of hesitation. "I think you should." His certainty struck her deeply, soft, supportive, and full of a love that made her eyes sting. She nodded, then typed a final message. "Yes, you can call." The phone rang almost instantly, its gentle tone filling the quiet room. Arya lifted it to her ear, her hand trembling slightly. "Hello?" she whispered. The sound of Caspian's voice, warm, familiar, and carrying years of unspoken feelings, flowed through the speaker like a forgotten melody returning home. "Arya," he breathed, "it's really good to hear you." Her eyes softened. "It's good to hear you too." Rowan watched her, his face glowing with relief. Relief not because she had chosen someone, but because she had chosen herself. The conversation unfolded softly, warmly, like something fragile finding its shape again. Arya spoke with a steadiness she hadn't felt in years. Caspian's voice carried the same sincerity she remembered, gentle, thoughtful, patient. When the call ended, Arya set the phone down with a trembling exhale. Rowan curled closer. "Mom, do you feel lighter?" She thought for a long moment, then nodded. "Yes," she whispered, "I really do." Rowan smiled, a slow, peaceful smile that eased the last of her fear. "I'm glad," he said, quietly. Arya wrapped her arms around him, holding him close as the night settled gently around them. And in that embrace, warm, quiet, and full of unspoken hope, she knew something had shifted. Not everything was solved, not everything was clear, but a door had opened. And for the first time in a long while, she let herself imagine walking through it. With courage, with hope, and with the quiet blessing of the little heart beside her.